I just can't wait for this recording to be done. Honestly, these are getting... We're fucking started?
Yeah, sure we have.
Goddamn. All right. Hi.
Great way to start it out. Nice energy. Good bit, Lance.
I didn't think it through, honestly. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Have You Seen? But it's not really Have You Seen. This is one of our holiday editions.
Just a holiday special.
Yeah. We felt like, we try and cash in on, the holiday, the feel goods. So we figured we'd go ahead and do one for Easter. And what better way to celebrate Easter than the time-honored classic, Shaun of the Dead?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a very Easter movie in that it's got some zombies in it.
Yep. And we rolled around a few ideas. There was a few zombie movies that we were trying to think about. There was even some honest to goodness. Like, I actually asked him, do you want to do like, what was it, Passion of the Christ? It was like,
Nope.
no.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I don't need to see a religious snuff film.
Yeah.
I've seen enough of that movie. But no, thank you for watching the holiday edition. Hopefully you liked the April Fool's Day joke that we put out.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a good one. So far, it's like 26 watches in one day or something like that.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
You could tell which day we're recording this one on.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's usually I try and put what days we record them on, just so I can kind of keep them in line. But
no, they're not necessarily all going to be chronological.
No.
We're fitting them in when we got time.
Yeah, we'll watch like 2 movies during the week. We're trying to get some extra out there. But
yeah, we tend to record about 2 things on a weekend.
Yeah, and we got another doozy coming for you tonight, and possibly an extra doozy, something I've been bothering Nick to watch. But we'll talk about that later.
We'll certainly get to that.
Yeah, just see if there's 3 videos where he's wearing the Moxie shirt.
I wear it's Moxes. It's Moxes from Cyberpunk.
Oh, yeah, okay. For some reason...
They had another shirt that I deemed probably inappropriate to wear that just said "fuck to death," and I like that shirt's funny. I can't wear that in public.
You can wear it on this.
I wear it in here, but
Yeah.
Why would I get a shirt that I can only wear here?
Yeah, okay, you got me there. Definitely got me. But yeah, no, thank you for watching another video. As always, he's Nick.
That's Lance.
Yeah. And again, we're watching the time-honored classic, Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead was made in 2004. Like
a stretch it. They physically stretched it.
Stretch. It's done by what I consider one of the best directors in Hollywood right now, Edgar Wright. Love the man. Every movie he's done so far has been awesome, in my opinion. I would have loved to have seen what Ant-Man would have looked like with him at the helm. I hear that there's a lot of elements of his script that was in the movie.
I would think so.
I'd like to believe it was like the Thomas the Tank Engine stuff. Whenever it's like huge bearing down on Yellow Jacket, and then it does the little beep.
Yeah.
And then he's got another movie that just came out recently called Last Night in Soho. And
I've not seen that one.
Tim is telling me that Amber and I need to go walk into it without doing any research.
Look up nothing and go see it.
Yeah. So
that's tends to be how I try to see most movies, but that's exceptionally hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Is to go into it with absolutely nothing, especially like with the Spider-Man No Way Home, is you couldn't help but hear. If you were on the internet, they were telling you rumors, and of course they all came true.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing I hate these days about everyone making all the guesses. Is it's like there's so many guesses. One's gonna stick, and it's people are so observant these days. Like, remember somebody watching the trailer of that when they're doing the big battle in front of the Statue of Liberty, and they're like, "Who the fuck is Lizard fighting?" Because there's nobody there, and somebody punches him. There's so they obviously took somebody out here, so that's got to be I guess what's his name, middle Spider-Man, Garfield, Andrew Garfield, because that was one of his bad guys. But yeah, it's just you can't get anything by anybody these days, because especially when you just stop and analyze every fucking frame.
People put out trailers, and I don't like watching trailers if it's because there's some movies I'm not going to see a movie. but maybe the trailer might change my mind. And then there's movies that I'm going to see, and a trailer is just going to show me stuff I'm going to see in the movie eventually anyway.
I agree with you. I feel like the first trailer usually doesn't show too much. It just kind of like, wets the balls a little bit.
Okay, I guess I don't... So I was showing you a trailer for The Eye, and they were giving away plot. They were giving away spoilers in the thing, and I'm like, okay, shut this off. And you're like, okay. I don't know if that was the first one or not, but they gave away... She did the, who's that, in the trailer.
Oh.
And that's awful. Don't do that. That's bad.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that video? That video's out,
Yeah,
right?
that video's out.
Okay, good. All right, sorry. Spoilers within spoilers.
Yeah, go watch our The Eye video.
Yeah, and...
Plug our own videos.
Or just go watch the movie, and then go watch our video, and let us know how bad we did it.
So, with this one, we've both seen this movie plenty of times a piece. And Easter was just kind of one of those reasons to, like, let's talk about Shaun of the Dead. Or just, we want to throw out some holiday specials that, on occasion, for holidays that are maybe big, but also some weird ones. Because this year we've got a Easter one, we've got a 420 one, and then we've got an Arbor Day one, just because I want to be different.
Arbor Day, wow.
I picked it because who would put out an Arbor Day video? We will, that's who.
Yeah, it's us and what's his name, the inventor of the internet.
Bob Dole.
It's not Bob Dole. It's a Bob though, I think. But no, Al Gore.
Al Gore, that's the one.
Oh, God knows that man will talk about trees. But yeah. So let's go ahead and give our ratings. So I'm going to predict you first.
Oh, sure.
So I'm gonna guess that you gave this movie. Well, you
I usually say.
Yeah, you go ahead.
So I think this movie is a 7 for me. All right.
Yeah. I think that's the first one I've gotten.
It's because it's above average, but also at this point in time, I think I've seen this movie like a half dozen times, and it's starting to I'm starting to tune out of it.
Okay.
So and it's been a while since I've seen it the last time, but this time I was watching, I'm just kind of like, I've seen this movie before, and I still like it, and I still make references to it, so it's still good. It's just I've overindulged myself in this particular movie. I think it's starting to lose some of its lastability for me.
So I still get something new out of it every single time because like there is something going on in every single frame. It's like watching a old school Naked Gun movie where it's like the joke is in the background, it's not in the foreground.
Yeah.
Because they find a way to just make it all like loop and fold in on each other itself. But so you want to guess?
I've got my guess here.
Okay. Well, while this is one of my favorite movies, it's not my favorite movie. So I would give this movie, I'd say an 8.
Hey, look at that.
Bam!
Because, hey, look, the Pops in the background. It's Shaun and Ed.
Hey!
I wonder why Lance owns a Shaun and Ed Pop figure. It must be because he would think it's a very, very good movie.
Yeah, it's, they were on sale at a book bag.
You would have bought them anyway if they weren't on sale.
Well, my wife bought those for me because she knows I love those movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's not my favorite of the Cornetto trilogy. I still like Hot Fuzz better.
I'd have to watch that one again to know if they're equal for me or if Hot Fuzz is better.
It's just the energy in Hot Fuzz is like it's so much better.
It's really good.
Plus, an actor that I never thought that I would just be so over the moon about. It's got Timothy Dalton.
I don't know if I know who that is.
Timothy Dalton's one of the James Bonds. He was considered like one of the worst James Bonds.
Who was he in Hot Fuzz?
So he was the guy with the big teeth, the rich guy.
Okay.
And when I saw him in that movie, I was like, oh my God, this is gonna suck. And he was fucking awesome in that movie.
Yarp?
Yeah. No, he wasn't Yarp.
I know. But
okay.
But he's the son of Yarp, or the father of Yarp.
Yeah, funny enough, Yarp was the fucking Hound in Game of Thrones.
I've never seen Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
You're not going to watch Game of Thrones.
Okay, that's a commitment. That's 8 seasons.
Yeah,
I'm not going to make you do that.
And everyone shitting on the last season, and then just there's a few things that I don't particularly find enjoyable, and that's mistreatment of women, a whole bunch of sex, and politics. and how much of that show is those three things.
I like one of those things.
And that's just, I watched the first episode. I think you guys showed me it. And I'm like, there's nothing going on in this show that particularly interests me. Like, if it's a fantasy movie, I want to have, like, orcs and elves and, like, magic spells. I don't want to be like, it's very realistic and watch this man stab a woman. Like, I don't, no thanks.
Yeah, I mean,
No, thanks.
it's magic returning to a world that used to be high magic, and then it's like if Forgotten Realms suddenly went, what's the...
Low magic or whatever.
Yeah, what's the Dark Sun?
Okay.
And then went back to, like, I don't know,
Well,
like...
it's Dark Sun, like, the world was destroyed. Not just that magic went away. It's that the arcane magic destroyed the world. Like, every time you cast an arcane spell, it, like, kills the plant life around you.
But it's like, I think what I liked about... So, and I know this isn't Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, yeah.
This will be a fast tangent. But with Game of Thrones, the way I was brought into it was Amber was needing books. Joe recommended them to her, and she fucking devoured them because Joe had like almost all of them on hand. Then the show came on, and Amber's like, right before the show came on, like a month or two before the show came out on HBO, she's like, "You need to read the first book." And I was like, "What's it about?" And she's like, "It's like political humor and like people like maneuvering for." And I was like, "That doesn't sound like something I want to read." Then I watched the first season of the show, and I literally got all the way through the season to the last episode, and I was like, "You know what? Give me the book." Because I felt at that point, if I liked the show, then I'd fucking love the book. If I find out there's a movie version of any book that I haven't read, I'm going to watch the movie first. And if I like it, it's like I get to watch two things I really like.
Yeah, two versions of something you like.
And then I get to go back and shit on the movie. But yeah, it was one of those things where I watched the TV show and was like, okay, I like this. And then I went back and read the books and was like, I really like this. And it's just because you have a world that like it got so fat and indulgent that they like forgot all of the fantasy stuff, and they got like so involved in like conquering the land and like bringing people to heal that they just forgot about what made the world great. And then you have the king come back and he wants to make the world great again. I know I'm not selling it for some people right now, but anyways, so yeah, Shaun of the Dead is one of those movies that I love to watch because I literally see something new every single time.
Yeah.
This time, to be honest with you, I turned on the subtitles.
Oh, really?
To get some of the heavy British speak, do you want something from the store? Cornetto. I didn't ever know he was saying cornetto at that point.
Yeah, I don't even really. It's a beer, isn't it, or something like that?
So cornetto is basically they're like ice cream, the ice cream cones that they have here that has like the chocolate inside the cone.
Okay.
It's like the ice cream, and then like I forget what they're ultimately called here, but like yeah, they're like the ice cream cone with the ice cream on top. They look like fucking spikes.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah, it's like a frozen ice cream treat.
Okay. So I always thought it was referring to alcohol, just because they kind of drink a lot in these movies.
Yeah, they always called it back in the day. I always heard it referred to as Blood and Ice Cream series trilogy. The Blood and Ice Cream trilogy, and then it was the Cornetto trilogy, and then like I couldn't ever figure out why they called it the Cornetto trilogy in the first movie, and then it's very obvious in the second and third in End of the World. Is that what it was called? I think it was End of the World. Maybe I can't remember off the top of my head. And then Hot Fuzz.
World's End.
Yeah, World's End. It's very obvious where they're on theirs, but like I turned on the subtitles on this because it's mainly like Nick Frost lines where he just kind of like mumbles something, and I really wanted to know everything they were saying this time. But like the first time that Shaun goes out and the world is like slightly zombified and he's walking through it oblivious, and he asks Ed, he's like, "You want something from the store?" And he goes, "Cornetto," and I was like,
Yeah.
there it is. And I know there are going to be super fans that are going to watch this and be like, it's obvious that's what he says, but to me it wasn't.
Yeah.
So
I mean, especially if you're. I think like this time I watched, I was partially distracted just because I found myself like, not necessarily bored, but it's just kind of like I know everything at this point in time.
Oh man, it's like I could watch that movie probably once or twice a week because like there's things that I caught that I didn't catch previous, like when they're sitting in the bar, and like one of my other favorite parts of that movie is if you leave me now, you'll take away the biggest part of me. And Ed goes, who fucking played that? And Sean's like, it's on random. I fucking love that part so much. But like when Ed's trying to cheer him up and they're doing all the characters in the bar and he's like, he's a misogynist. And like you see the guy's boots and everything like that. And it's like, he did this and he did that. And then like in the scene where they're moving through the backyards, right before they run into the other group of them, there's like there's a guy, there's a guy like laying down on the ground like they're eating, and like he looks and it's the guy's boots, so it was like that guy.
Oh, okay.
So like they'll just randomly go by something and just kind of be like,
it's a callback to something earlier.
But it always comes back. Like Edgar Wright is the king of like having perfect transitions into other scenes. Like there's no throwaway in the movie. He finds a way to transition from scene to scene and make it interesting. And that's one of the things I love about the man. There's no fat in the movie. So cast, of course, Simon Pegg, Nick Frost.
Which was the first movie of theirs. And the first thing I'd seen them in.
Right. Well, they were in something before that called Spaced, which I think was like one of their first things that they had ever been in.
From what I understand, that was like their breakout thing too. But it's like I've not seen Spaced yet either.
And it was another Edgar Wright thing. So I think that's when they all got together and kind of realized that there was something there. And man, my foot is super asleep. So in the movie, I was really paying attention to the cast this time. So you had Pete, who was played by Peter Serafinowicz. I practiced that name quite a few times before we started this video. I'm so proud. Nailed it.
Or unless that's not his name.
It better be. Serafinowicz. So, he was in The Tick in the Amazon series.
Hey.
Yeah. Spoon. He was also he ended up nailing quite a few roles. You had Bill Nighy.
Yes. Which I think this is probably the second thing I'd seen him in. First thing I'd seen him in was Underworld. He was the old vampire.
Old vampire dad character, right?
Yeah, the father figure. He's the one that sired Kate Beckinsale.
That's right. And then of course he's Do You Feel Death? He's fucking Davy Jones in one of the
the second one.
Yeah.
Whatever those movies. Like I checked out of Pirates of the Caribbean at the end of the second movie.
And then, of course, he's in Hot Fuzz. You're making all us look bad.
Yeah.
He's a treasure.
Yeah.
The thing that I thought funny, and I'd spotted her before, but I'd went back and watched Spaced after watching basically all of the Cornetto trilogy. But it's got Jessica Haynes, who played Daisy. She was Yvonne in this movie. As his ex-girlfriend, the other Shaun, the female version,
essentially, yeah.
But she was Daisy, who was like his roommate / love interest near the end of the show. Spoiler. That show is old as fuck though, so if you haven't seen it, shame on you.
Shame on me, apparently.
It's good.
I'll maybe watch it someday.
It's good. It's got one of my favorite scenes of all time of guy Bluetooth, where like the dude walks in, he's like, I'm so sad. And they're like, oh, we know how to cheer you up. And they're like, how? And he's like, gunfight. And he's like, gunfight. And they're like, yeah, gunfight. And he's like, oh, I don't like guns. He's like, oh, no. It's you'll like it. And he's like, I don't know how to play it. And he goes, you're a guy. You'll know how to play it instantly. And they're like, he's like, well, I don't get it. And Simon Pegg goes, watch. And he goes, and like the dude's like, and then he like goes, oh, and suddenly the dude just goes, so they're all just rolling around their apartment, like shooting different kind of guns at each other, and they're all just like, and like near the end of it, they're all laying dead in the apartment, and someone comes in, they're like, we've got to go, and he pops up, and the dude who came in that was super depressed, he was like, that was amazing. Like it was such a good part. But yeah, it had Daisy in it, which I was super happy to see that they brought her back.
Martin Freeman in it.
Yeah, which was crazy, right?
Yeah, it's like, cause I'm not super up to date on kind of like the British shows and stuff like that. So like when I was seen it originally, he was probably picking up over there. But now that he's been over the pond, as it were, and been to more stuff over here, and go back and see it, and he's just there. I'm like, oh shit.
The funny thing about Martin Freeman is that the first thing I had ever seen Martin Freeman in was the fucking Ali G movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never seen that one.
And it's funny because, like, there's a lot of people who haven't seen the Ali G movie.
Me included.
Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those flicks where you kind of have to see it at least once, because it really is a crazy ass movie. But like he's Ali G's best friend in that show, which is a bit part, and the next thing you know, he's fucking Bilbo.
Well, he was in The Office, and then he was in Sherlock. He played Watson in Sherlock.
I haven't seen Sherlock.
Me neither, but I still know Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, there's The Office, and then the Ali G into House. He plays Ricky C in that, and like it's just nuts seeing where he came from to where he is now. Like I'm sure he's British royalty by now, but like he's American fucking royalty too.
Yeah.
Because the man, it's seeing him in a bit part. I don't even think he talks.
I think he like hello Shaun or something. I think he made the waves or like greets him or whatever.
Yeah,
he's the Liz equivalent.
Yeah, they all say hi to each other as they're walking by each other.
Except for the two Eds.
Well, then,
yeah.
Yeah. Then you had Matt Lucas, who was the Nega Ed, the other Ed of the group. Matt Lucas was in a show that was in America for a very short time called Little Britain. It's the only thing I really know him from. He's been in some other movies like Bridesmaids.
And I think I've just seen him off of YouTube in reference to some British, because I occasionally watch British stuff. Like recently I've been watching like Taskmaster, and I've seen some things with from Graham Norton, and I've probably seen him in some Graham Norton clip or something like that.
Right.
Because he looks familiar, but I couldn't place, like looking through stuff. I'm like I don't know. I don't actually know him.
But like there's a lot of people, and then of course you have Edgar Wright, and he was playing like most of the voices that you hear on like the commercials and the news. He played Rabid Monkey Newsgaze. It's the thought of rabid monkeys spreading the place is complete bull, and then they cut. He was pratfalling zombie, whoever the fuck that was. Italian restaurant voice. Like he was doing a lot of voice work in it, and apparently he was one of the zombies. Now I didn't look it up beforehand, but there are, I think, famous people mixed in the zombies in that movie.
Maybe. I didn't look it up either.
I remember hearing it on another channel, but I didn't look it up because I didn't want to bite anybody else's info they brought to the table, because I don't want to recycle,
Yeah, it's something you could see in another person's YouTube video talking about the movie.
Yeah, and I don't want to just like borrow from other people, but yeah. Anyways, so I just think the movie is just fantastic. Nothing's wasted. There's no fat in the movie.
No.
So many jokes come back around to bite you in the ass. It's good stuff.
Oh yeah, and it's first of all it's funny, but then it also has meaningful parts too, because kind of like you have for the beginning of the movie, whatever, he's like, I need to go over to my mom's house and kill Phil. So let's go kill Phil, and him just being like super into it or whatever, and then like when he's in the back of the car and like Phil's dying and he's like, I tried, Shaun, but by the time I met you, you were already an adult.
You were 12. You'd already learned so much, and it's like you don't expect those hook shots.
Yeah, and then like he's like he like dies away and he's like, we got to pull over, like Phil's dead, and his mom's like, no, he's not.
Get out! But like even then they bring that joke back around where it's like, Phil, you have the child locks on the car, and he's like, safety first, Shaun, and then of course the child locks.
Then they get stuck in the back.
Yeah, he keeps him in the back seat. But yeah, that was just, Mom, there's nothing of the man you loved in that car right now. And he turns off the radio and he looks up like, oh my God, so good. And then there's that, and then oh shit, did we even say spoilers at any point?
We haven't, but we're gonna be talking about the movie.
I think anybody that's watching any of these movies know that once we give it the ratings.
Yeah. We're talking about the movie.
So we either fucked up or yeah, it's, and I think that's what I really love about the movie too, is that it didn't shy away from like the feels. Like you get a little bit of everything. The only thing that keeps the movie from being, I gave it an 8, right? The only thing that keeps the movie from being like a 9 to me is like David. I fucking hate David's character in the movie.
Yeah.
He brings it down. The actor, great guy.
Great,
yeah. The actor himself, his name is
your other stretch for time was better.
His name is... What the fuck? You figured he'd be near the top. He was one of the main dudes. Anyways, the guy who played David, Dylan Moran, he was in Black Books is the one big one. It was a television show that was actually pretty good. Yeah, it's another one of the British television shows that I really kind of dug. But I didn't watch all of them, if I'm being 100% honest. But there's like a lot of names within names here, and then that's the other thing is like
well, a lot of them are British names too. So until recently, until I became like an adult, like actor names, I never gave a shit about, except for maybe like some of the A-list actors, because you're a kid and like you like shit blowing up, so you know Arnold Schwarzenegger, but maybe you don't care about someone like Paul Giamatti or whatever. And then as you get older, and you're like, actually, Paul Giamatti's better than Arnold Schwarzenegger. So then you start paying attention to him in movies. Oh, and who's that? Gary
Busey.
No, Gary Oldman.
Yes.
Where you're like, man, this man disappears into a role, and you can watch a movie with him in it and be like, hey, that's Gary Oldman. You're like, what happened now? He's what was that guy in Fifth Element? Zed?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Zorg.
And then you see him in something else, and was he in Leon the Professional? Wasn't he the everyone?
He was the guy that was all the cop that was all like coked up or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he was in one of my favorites. I think the movie was called Blue Velvet. It's a Quentin Tarantino movie. And he was like a white Rastafarian drug dealer. And like talk about disappearing into a role. I might be wrong, but like I believe it was that movie where like
I don't know that one.
So it had just a quick thing on it. It's basically it had the dude. God, what's his name? Did you watch any Archer?
No.
It's got that one fucking dude. He talks like he's almost like a young version of Jack Nicholson.
I don't think I know who you're talking about.
But it's one of those movies where, like I said, I might be thinking of the wrong one. Yeah, this is Kyle MacLachlan. Yeah, Blue Velvet. Oh God, this is the one I'm thinking of. Like Ben. So this is a David Lynch movie I'm thinking of. It's not that one. The one I'm thinking of is a Quentin Tarantino movie that has. Oh my God! Talk about another name amongst named movies. It's got a bunch of people I'm fucking blanking on right now because
apparently.
I'm on the spot. So
and I don't know what you're talking about, so I can't help you.
Fucking Weapon of Choice. Christopher Walken. We'll round on it later, but
it's not that important.
But
it has nothing to do with Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, no, but like it's I don't. It's little things like that kept it from being like a perfect movie. It had unlikable characters. Mm-hmm. I didn't even really like Shaun's girlfriend till near the end of the movie.
Yeah, she's just kind of, she's fine. I like her.
Yeah, she was okay, but it's like, I don't know, like it felt like it was a throwaway part of the movie until later on when like the flowers come back up. Like I got you the flowers, and she's like, to the best mom.
Exactly. Oh yeah, remember that joke I told you about like how you take care of me like your mom? She's like,
these are for your mom, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah. Like little things like that, like it makes your character better. And then like near the end of the movie when they're all like in tandem, it's just you think Captain Wow over there is going to have such a great plan. He's just going to sit here in the dark eating peanuts. And then he comes back and he's like, would anybody like a peanut? And she's probably thinking, oh fuck, I have made the wrong decision. But yeah, it's little things like that keep the movie from being a perfect 10 to me. Plus there's just Hot Fuzz is just, in my opinion, it's a better movie. It's got like better jokes.
Yeah, again, I'd have to watch that one again. So I don't know. I do like that movie a lot because I remember we went to see that movie, and then like after that, like either the next day or maybe even the same day, we went to play Spycraft. Joe was running a Spycraft game, and I'm like, I want to play a character who can leap through the gun. Leap through the air while it's firing two guns.
That's
so
right.
I made a character that could leap through the air while it's firing two guns.
I remember that. Yeah, it's just that one's got so much better jokes. Like the fucking cast in that movie is like perfect.
That's one we still reference, but we still reference Shaun of the Dead too. Even just like that.
And then of course it's got the legendary part, "Don't stop me now."
Just, where everyone's beating with a cue stick in beat, and then people in the thing are just kind of like jamming to it.
So
it's good.
So good. You know, I really should have just picked any other actor and tried going backwards through their fucking filmography. When you pick Christopher Walken and go backwards from there, like True Romance. There it is.
True Romance.
Okay, so True Romance.
Never heard of it.
So it's got Christian Slater.
Okay.
Oh my God, you haven't seen True Romance?
I don't think so.
Hey Nick, have you seen True Romance?
It's a different show.
Dennis Hopper.
Okay.
Patricia Arquette.
All right.
Val Kilmer. Gary Oldman. Brad Pitt. Christopher Walken. Bronson Pinchot. Sam Jackson. Michael Rappaport. Like, fucking James Gandolfini. I mean, look at this cast. Chris Penn. Tom Sizemore.
You know, the more names you say, it doesn't make me see it.
Really?
No, it doesn't make me, like, you're not changing the fact that I haven't seen the movie.
Oh, no. Like, just Dennis Hopper, awesome actor. Mm-hmm. I like Christian Slater. He's okay. Patricia Arquette, I like her. She's okay. Val Kilmer, I've grown to really kind of respect the guy. Of course, Gary Oldman, he's fucking amazing. And, like, I hope they have, like, a picture of him in this movie, in this little thing, because he looks nothing like himself. He looks like a fucking, like, washed out Rastafarian weirdo. But I don't think they're going to have it, because he played Dexter Spindley in this, and I doubt very seriously that's when they're going to highlight. I just remember the part where, like, Christian Slater walks in, he's like, "You're going to give me the girl, you're going to take this money, and you're going to release her." And I'm just walking, and the fucking Gary Oldman gets, like, this lamp and, like, leans it to him so he can really good look at him. He goes, "Is it White Boy Day?" And I feel like it's White Boy Day, because this guy just came in, like, making all kind of demands and shit. Is it White Boy Day? Did I miss? You know, like, but it's crazy how he is in that movie. But, like, if somebody would have told you, if I wouldn't have told you that and you would have watched that movie, you'd just been like, "That guy's familiar."
I don't know. Maybe I'd recognize him. I'd have to see.
I think this movie could have benefited from Gary Oldman.
I think every movie could benefit from Gary Oldman.
I agree. Can you think of any bad Gary Oldman movies?
I don't know how many Gary Oldman movies I've seen, but off the top of my hand, I don't think so.
I think he was in the second remake of the Planet of the Apes movies. So the first one had...
Yeah, he was in the Rise, not Rise. He was in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Right.
And I like that movie.
I dug it, but...
It had fun stuff in it.
Anybody that tells you that the original Planet of the Apes movies are better than the remakes is probably 80 years old.
So I remember, because I bought, like, the DVD set that had all of the original ones in it. And I watched the first one. I'm like, it's a pretty good movie. And then I watched the second movie, like Beneath the Planet of the Apes. And I'm like, I'm done watching these movies.
Yeah.
So I still have the other ones to go through at some point in time. Because it stopped being about apes. It started being about the weird people that live underground with no skin. And I'm like, what the fuck is this movie?
And not only that, but then they start getting into the whole social interactions. Like, you have 8 people coming and, like, hanging out with other humans and stuff like that. And people are just like, You know, like, it gets really kind of bizarre.
So the remake movies, not the Marky Mark movies, but the...
No.
But the Andy Serkis ones.
But I will say this for the Marky Mark...
are still pretty good ones.
I will say this for the Marky Mark movies.
Mm-hmm.
Humans in ape and, you know, like, costumes, they still looked pretty good.
Yeah, the costumes were good.
And I know there was a lot of people that had problems with, like, the mouths and, like, the nose and stuff like that, but
they look fine.
I thought they looked great.
It had Paul Giamatti too.
Yeah, he was
He was good.
Wasn't he Dr. Zaius?
I think he was. He was kind of snivelly. I don't know if he was the doctor.
He was an orangutan, so I'm pretty sure.
I'm not sure if he was Dr. Zaius. This Dr. Zaius. No, he might have been.
Look
but he was one of the snivelly ones. I've only seen that movie like once.
You know, I think I've seen it at least twice. Because I remember we watched it, and then I watched it again. Because I thought they were going to put on... Because that movie's also got Michael Clark Duncan as the gorilla, one of the gorilla guards, and I thought he was great.
He was good. And it had Tim Roth as like the villain, wasn't he?
Yeah. So Tim Roth was the
general.
I think he was Caesar.
Was he? Because I know Caesar was the little monkey. Was he also called Caesar?
I think he was Caesar. I'm here.
We're looking at that movie too.
I'm here, so we're gonna look that one up as well. Because I mean, why not? I mean, it was a decent movie. I didn't hate it.
It was whatever.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, but then they put out the next wave of the Planet of the Apes movies, and like
the Rise movies were like Rise and Dawn and War.
So before I get there, I'm pretty sure that the Marky Mark Planet of the Apes movies was.
Why are you looking at Paul Giamatti and not Planet of the Apes?
Because I kind of wanted to see everything he's been in, because the man has got a very impressive range of movies. Not to mention, one of the best movies he was ever in was the fucking Bullets.
I hate that movie. His character was great in that movie. I hated that movie.
Well, it has one of the funniest fucking jokes, like the Falco Tools or whatever.
She shot at everything and it said "F you."
Yeah, fuck you too.
Yeah.
I still, to this day, that was one of the funniest fucking parts of that entire movie. That and the baby. The baby was on the street and they're like, and he reached down to get the baby and it was like a robot or something. And he's like, what the fuck?
Is it called Shoot 'em Up?
Shoot 'em Up.
Shoot 'em Up. I hated that movie.
See, I didn't like it either. The main guy of Shoot 'em Up.
Yeah, that's why I didn't like it. I don't like it. I don't like him.
Well, I think he's a big to do in Britain, but as far as me, I am not that big of a fan, and I am failing hard at.
It's because you're looking at. It's going to be two people looking up movies on IMDb.
Well, I mean,
we could have done.
Well, it's. I mean, we
knew we were going to talk about Planet of the Apes?
We go out of our way to.
I didn't know we were going to talk about Planet of the Apes.
I mean, I'm just looking at his filmography, and it's fucking amazing. Like some of the movies this guy's been in.
Helena Bonham Carter was the lady monkey.
She is literally in everything. Yeah.
Paul Giamatti was Limbo. He was not Dr. Zaius.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if there was a Dr. Zaius in that movie.
Probably not.
Because I don't think they redid the things. Tim Roth was Thade, not Caesar. I think
Thade.
Yeah. Thade.
I have no idea what Thade
is.
I
think they're using new names for this one because he's. I don't remember the guy's name in regular Planet of the Apes.
Charlton Heston.
Yeah, it's Charlton Heston.
Get your hands off me, you
Charlton
damn
Heston
dirty.
played George Taylor in Planet of the Apes. Marky Mark plays Leo Davidson. So different people. So it's kind of the same premise. Man goes into space, comes back, and.
But see, that's why people.
In monkeys.
That's why people didn't like the fucking movie right there. Tim Burton. Like Tim Burton has to do weird shit every single time with whatever it is that he does. And to me, it's like it's half and half because like I think
he's got some good shit and he's got some weird shit.
So Tim Burton did the Batman 2 with
Batman Returns.
Danny DeVito or Return. I guess it's Returns with Danny DeVito and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer, yeah. Did you call her Michelle Pfeiffer?
Michelle Pfeiffer's.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
And like I hated that version of Oswald Cobblepot because it's just he's fucking gross.
Yeah, he's kind of gross.
And
he got burtoned.
Yeah, and I don't mind Selena Kyle acting the way she did, but like I liked the costume more than I liked her.
Yeah.
And then of course you still had Michael Keaton. He was basically the same fucking guy that he was in the first movie. But yeah, you either love him or you hate him. And
he's got stuff I like and stuff I don't like. Because didn't he do the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? Or was it called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? I think it was Willy Wonka. I think
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was the original one.
And that's what the movie was called, and this one is called Willy. Well, it's whatever.
So
he did the
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was the one with
Johnny Depp, or is that the
It was the original one.
Okay, and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is the one with Johnny Depp.
Yes.
Okay.
It's until someone says you're a fucking idiot and no, that's not right.
I know the book's called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I'm not looking up anything else on IMDb.
Yeah, we're done. No more phones.
Yeah.
We'll be wrong and we'll let people down below correct us.
It's late, and please put in the comments and say how very, very wrong we are.
And tell us to talk more about Shaun of the Dead down there too. We'll totally listen.
Well, it's like, how much can you really say about Shaun of the Dead?
It's first of all, it's a comedy, so a lot of the jokes, like, go watch them. And it'd be us just saying jokes, which I don't think we necessarily want to do either. Like, it is a movie that is good. The comedy's funny. It makes you care about the characters. And when awful shit happens to them, you're still kind of like, you feel it.
Yeah, you're riding high, and then all of a sudden they kind of pull you down and fucking like really kind of nut shot you one time.
Then they kill a character, and then there's the guy that you don't like, and he gets killed the fucking worst.
Oh, David.
Yeah. He gets pulled through the window, and then like pulled in half essentially.
Yeah, he gets basically he gets disemboweled.
Yes.
Oh, that was so good. And then he gets quartered. It's like it couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Why isn't it called quintered? Because I know there are 4 horses pulling you, but they pull you into 5 pieces. He got pulled into 5 pieces, right? I guess normally, like if you're doing it back in the day, one of the limbs keeps the torso, right? Because they don't tie you down and pull off all your limbs.
No, they put a rope on each of the limbs, and the horses take off.
So your torso goes with one of them. Whereas I think he was. Where's limbs from?
Oh no, his arms and legs both came off.
Okay.
Because they got the legs, the zombies got the arm and the torso and the head. So
he got quintered.
Yes. So I guess that's why it's quartered, because there's technically 4 pieces.
I couldn't remember if they tied you down necessarily either, and to try to get all of your limbs off, or if they just kind of... It's awful shit.
I wonder if back in the day in medieval times, people like betted which part went with the horse.
Like a wishbone?
Yeah.
Ah.
And it's like, I bet left arm. And then like left arm goes riding off at the torso, and you're like, ah, you know? Like, that's something to...
Oh, look at that. Got pence.
Pay me my 3 farthings. But yeah, we can sit here and spoil every single little like thing of the movie, but like there's so many jokes within jokes within jokes, and so much going on in the background. Like if you sit down, you get a nice bag of popcorn and a nice beer, maybe even smoke like a doob, like maybe 30 minutes before the movie, so like you're not super high when you're watching it, but you're like starting to come down and you're focused, and you pay attention to the movie. There are so many gifts in that flick that like it's like callback after callback after callback.
It's just like the beginning of the movie where everyone is kind of zombieing their way to work or whatever, just kind of zombieing their way through life. It's kind of like everyone's already kind of dead living this way, and then like everyone actually dies.
And even when it does like the repetition when he's walking through zombie land, like everyone's doing basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Still, one of my other favorite parts of the movie was the failed actress. I forget her name, but it was like the girl, like, we all have to act like zombies to get to the Winchester. And he's like, David, give it. And he's like, And it's like, no, do it again. Okay, you're a zombie and you hate it. She's like, better. And then she looks at Ed, and he's just like, And he's like, no, that's a zombie to you. And he's like, what? Who made you the fucking king of the zombies?
You do it.
You do. And he's like, yeah, that's pretty good. Like, it's just that little banner is like, it makes the movie fucking awesome.
Yeah, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost always have great banner.
But yeah, it's you can't. The only movie that I've seen with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost that I wasn't crazy about, but has grown on me, is Paul.
I like that movie.
So I didn't like it the first time through.
Okay.
Just because it felt a little disjointed in some of the areas. Like, I loved all the stuff with like Paul and them talking about it, and then they were talking about the comic book, and then when you had like the Men in Black that were like chasing them, that all felt weird to me. Like it felt like it was kind of interrupting the movie, because I loved hearing them talk about, we've been around forever, and like, why do you?
It's you look like you do in the like in the pictures, and like, why do you think I look like? It's the country that has whatever's been drip feeding you images, so that like when we meet, you're not going to be like completely lose yourself.
Yeah, it's not going to be like a fucking car crash. It's just like they're trickle feeding you this information.
Yeah.
Like we're fucking hamsters. Which honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if like that's actually what's happening, because I find it weird. In the past 2 years, the government was like, UFOs are real. And it's like, are you telling us that because there's so much fuckery going on in government right now?
Anything that's flying in the air that you can't identify is a UFO. So in that way, UFOs are real. Are they from space? Probably not.
Yeah, if a shoe goes sailing across and like hits you in the face and falls off the deck and you don't see what kind it is.
Is that a UFO?
Technically.
Well, is it flying if it was thrown? Because it is not staying aloft of its own, under its own power. I don't think it's a flying object. It's a UTO, an unidentified thrown object.
I don't know if they break it down like that far.
Oh, like, isn't that the definition of flying? Something's like, if I like throw you off the deck, you didn't fly to the ground. You fell.
I'd like to think I did.
You could be a UFO, an unidentified falling object. But then if I went, that was Lance. Now you're an IFO, an identified found object.
Okay, you are fucking me up right now.
fallen object. Except you're not an object; you're a creature.
I mean, I guess technically you're right. Like, I guess actually you're right, because like you don't see like people that they don't know that is like falling from things, and they don't call it an unidentified flying object. It's only an object if you don't know what it is.
That's objects aren't things, because I mean, if there's a bird flying through it, and you're like, don't know what kind of bird it is, it's not a UFO.
It's just an unidentified bird.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I honestly never thought about it that way. Huh. You just fucked up my world a little bit, little kid. But yeah. What's your favorite part of the movie?
It probably is that "Don't Stop Me Now" bit. Just because it's funny and I like the song, and then it's all in beat, and then you cut to his mom and the other girl, and they're just kind of like nodding, like snapping their heads along to like Liz, Ed, and them trying to do it, and it's just it's like going to chaos. They're fighting them, and you can hear the zombies at the door like responding to it. It's a good part.
It's try using the gun above. It's only there as a showpiece. It's not. It doesn't actually work. I told you. It's just a. Oh shit. Okay. Like, I guess it's an actual gun. And then I also like the fact that he wasn't like amazing with it, but then suddenly, like after a few test shots, I like that they actually went through a few of their shells before that actually happened. But yeah, it's.
Do you have a favorite part?
My favorite part of the movie is probably the part that made me laugh like the hardest was the whole dad in the car, and he kept telling him to turn the radio down the entire time. And then like, you know, when he went full zombie and he's like, there is nothing left of the man you loved in that car, and then he turned off the fucking music and went, huh. That part makes me laugh every single time. Another part that usually also makes me laugh is well, how'd you get back here? Well, I let him off. Well, how'd you lead him off? I gave him the slip, and then I snuck back here. Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna go down and like
turn the power back on, and then they're all outside.
Turn the power back on, and then like he turns the light on. You see the silhouette of them like all just kind of standing by the window, and he just turns the light back off,
and then pulls down.
And then he pulls the shade and runs back upstairs, and he's like, "We're in trouble."
I may not have given them the slip.
Yeah, like I like how much of a screw up Shaun is in places, but my other favorite part was there's a girl in the garden, and like and they're looking at her, and
man, she's so drunk.
Yeah, she is so drunk. But like I love when they're going through the albums and they're like Sade, and he's like, that's Liz's album. He's like he just throws it anyways. And he's like, what, Batman soundtrack? He's like, throw it. Like it's just little things like that are fucking great. But like ultimately I think one of my favorite, like my feel good moment of the entire movie was Ed dies.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh. And then he's like, I'm going to pop back to the garden for a few minutes. She's like, go on. And he goes back to play video games with Ed. And like he reaches over for the controller, and Ed's like, Ed. Ed's like, and he's like basically permanently doing his impression of the monkey now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that part always makes me. And then they play, ooh, you're making me live. Like that's just, the movie is just so good. But I don't want to say more about it because there's just so much to talk about in the movie, and I know we got into a lot of sidetracks in this, but like I feel like a lot of them are relevant.
Well, there's also a lot of like when you talk about a comedy, it's just you're talking about the jokes, and the jokes are always going to be funnier if you just watch the movie.
Yes, yeah, like
so you kind of have to talk about how the movie makes you feel and what the movie reminds you of and all that kind of stuff.
Well, there's a lot of bleed over there, and I think that's what kind of got me thinking about some of these other things. But plus, if you start talking about Gary Oldman, man, I mean, you got to commit.
You're talking about Gary Oldman and all of his movies. More movies of his than I've seen.
Can you think of a bigger actor than Gary Oldman? Don't say Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt's good, but...
Do you mean just prolific?
Like, treasure. Like, when you think of a treasure.
I think of Tom Hanks, maybe.
He's good.
That's also just like as him as a person. He seems dope.
Yeah. Well, I'm also talking
maybe he's not. But.
I'm also talking range, like range of acting. Like Anthony Hopkins is one I can think of.
He's pretty good.
So
he's got some range.
Have you seen any Westworld?
No.
So he plays a guy named Ford, I think it is, in Westworld. Even if you don't watch it, because there's a lot of sex in that show, and I know you're not crazy about that, because it's basically a world of like wild wild west where you can go and fucking like abuse laws and like fuck robots.
Yeah.
But like he plays a character who is just very profound. And if I'll list it below if I can figure it out, but there's a dude who actually went back and did like a study of Anthony Hopkins, and it was called a masterclass of Anthony Hopkins, and like just to show like what kind of range the man had. And there's like a part where this dude's talking to him, and like his character's like asking this one girl questions, and she gives them thing, and he like basically there's like 5 different emotions that pass through his face. He doesn't speak a line, but like she says something, and it's like surprise, and then like, you know, he's kind of like anger, and then bemusement, and like when you watch it, when the guy's breaking it down, you fucking see every single one of those pass across his face, and like it's just the man is just he's really fucking good.
I might pull up Ian McKellen as a person with range too. He's played heroes, he's played villains,
He's played Nazis
and people abused by Nazis. Because Magneto, as well as as well as the guy in Apt Pupil.
You're right. I never saw the Apt Pupil.
Have you not seen Apt Pupil?
No.
Oh, that's on the list.
I know of the Apt Pupil.
Okay.
But I have not seen it. I didn't even think about that. Magneto was, but I mean, was it technically him because it was like the other guy, like the younger version that was in those movies, right? He was. He's still Magnus.
Well, no, he still has like I'm never gonna let. When like I think it was in the third one. It's like, do you have any tattoos? And he showed off his numbers, and he's like, I'll never let ink touch my skin again, because he's got the concentration camp numbers on him.
That's right.
So I mean, he was abused by the Nazis in that right. Continuum too.
Yeah.
Continuum, continuity, whatever you want to call it.
Universe.
Yeah.
That was the Fox version of the universe.
Before they rebooted it and decided it was the same movie series and linked it all together, and it was awful. And please stop.
And then Marvel, like, they just bought up everything and they don't want to disavow most of it, so now it's...
Yeah, they're probably going to I hope it's not all just pulled from the Fox universe, because the Fox universe is a mess.
I feel like they're going to pick and choose what they want to pull over, but it's like, I think they're going to just call it variations now.
Variants.
Yeah, you have all the variant stuff that was pulled in Loki, and I think that's going to be the excuse of we can just pick whoever the fuck we want to.
it's so nice and lazy where you can just be like, nah, we just pull it over, and here it is. So we want Ryan Reynolds to say, well, he exists in this place now.
But I mean, honestly, I kind of dig that. I mean, I like it for the fact of we don't
have to do it again.
Yeah, not only that, but like you get who you want.
Because Ian McKellen back as Magneto would be cool, but also at the same time, it might be nice to see. I don't like Hugh Jackman did really great as Wolverine. But a new person as Wolverine, I'm ready for it. Like, Hugh Jackman did it, and he did it really well. But we can be done with Hugh Jackman. Someone else can play Wolverine at this point.
Who do you want to see as Wolverine?
I want someone short.
Like 5'1"?
Yeah, and maybe, like, actually got more of that kind of look to him. Because Hugh Jackman had, like, a beard, and maybe he, like, would kind of, like, shave it to that point. But he never had, like, that weird kind of Wolverine hair that he kind of needs. So
back in the day when they were actually talking about making the first X-Men movie, I remember like Wizards magazine was a thing back then, and they were like throwing around, who would you like to see? And of course you had Jean-Luc Picard
as Professor X.
Yeah, as Professor X, and that stuck. But like for Wolverine, I remember it was bantered around at that like Glenn Danzig of the band Danzig. The man is like 5 foot tall. He's built like a fucking brick shit house, and and like, but you have Wolverine who like in all the cartoons he talks like this or like with a really low voice.
He talks like Steve Bloom.
And then if you had like Glenn Danzig, just be like, all these mothers all coming around here. I don't like that's it wouldn't have worked. But like it's for like body type, people were picking him, and it's like, stop doing the type. Just try and find the guy who could do it.
Get someone who could do it. Yeah.
But yeah, like if you were to actually do like Vincent D'Onofrio is a good Kingpin, but he's not the Kingpin.
I think I like Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin better.
I agree, because like Michael Clark Duncan, he had the body type,
and he was just gigantic and imposing.
Yeah, when he walked up on the camera, you were just like, you felt the fucking size.
It's like, holy shit.
Vincent D'Onofrio is a big dude, and they do a really good, but I don't like the way that he acts as the Kingpin, but he's still good.
I don't really like that cadence. I mean, he is still good, but I mean, I miss Michael Clark Duncan.
I do too,
because he was pretty much everything he's in. I think I liked. It's made the Planet of the Apes movie's all right. Green Mile's good. Daredevil is not necessarily a great movie, but I like him as Kingpin.
For all the shit that people give Daredevil, like Daredevil did some things right.
It was fun.
Like
It's dumb fun, but it's fun.
Well, like his Matt Murdock's Echo power, his radar.
It looked really cool.
It looked fucking dope, especially when they went down to the subway the first time and like the train came rolling through and everything got like real fucked up. I thought they did that part awesome. I thought they did Bullseye great because like, he was hitting all of his fucking marks and he did the shit with like, you made me fucking miss.
Yeah.
It was played by Colin Farrell and he went over the top with the character.
Yeah.
Because like Bullseye's crazy, but he's not fucking psychopath.
It's like I like Bullseye, and I've only seen season 3 of Daredevil once. But when he was just kind of like picking up shit in the office and just pegging Daredevil like ricochet off the file cabinet pegs, it was good.
Yeah. And Bullseye is like one of his biggies. He's like one of his Daredevil's biggies.
Because Bullseye has been Daredevil before, hasn't he?
Yes. And they even did that in the show.
In like Dark Avengers or something like that. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's I don't want to say who I would pick as Wolverine because I know there's a lot of people who are just like fucking no more Wolverine.
Yeah.
Because that one's that Wolverine is DC's Batman.
Yeah.
Like
well, it's also like they propped him up because Hugh Jackman was really good. It's like he's the leader. Like Wolverine was never a leader really until those movies came out and they decided that like well people like Wolverine, he's a leader now. He's the short stocky guy that like gets angry all the time.
He's the berserker.
He's the berserker, and like he doesn't take orders and all that kind of. He's not someone you take orders from.
Bub.
And I'd like to see more of that side of him, not necessarily the how he built him up in the X-Men universe. I want him to go back to kind of that little short asshole that he was before, with kind of like the complex for the fact that he's like 3 feet tall. Yeah. He's gonna just beat the crap out of you.
Yeah, it's. I think the best thing I ever saw Hugh Jackman is when they went back Weapon X. Mm-hmm. When he came out of the water with the fucking like all the shit on, like I thought that part looked really fucking dope. Otherwise, he was good, but it's not what I wanted from Wolverine.
Yeah, it's again he's really good. Like in Logan, he's just fucking amazing.
Old Man Logan. Yeah, he. Oh my god, that movie was so good. Mm-hmm. And like the girl who played like X-23, she was so fucking good too. And I don't know what her name is. I've seen her in something else.
I don't remember her name offhand.
But like that girl was awesome. Like that's, I don't know about you, but like that was my favorite Sony movie that they've made for like.
You mean a Fox movie?
Or a Fox movie they've made.
For the X-Men ones, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that movie was so goddamn good.
Because Fox also did the Fantastic Four movies.
Well, I don't think any of those were good. Like
no, not really.
Fan Four Stick was horrible.
That was bad.
Yeah, like. But we're again Shaun of the Dead. Sorry. All right, sorry.
I think we're done talking about Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, we just need to start doing like a fucking series just called like fucking Inanities, where we just talk about whatever the fuck we want to.
Apparently.
Yeah.
But you can't blame us. This is a holiday special. This is coming out on a Sunday, and tomorrow you'll get like a real episode, hopefully.
Yeah. So, Shaun of the Dead. Would you recommend it to people?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Easily second best movie of the Cornetto trilogy. Watch Hot Fuzz, but watch them in order, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're not connected.
They're not connected. Same.
It's just they get the same people back, and it's the same director, and it just kind of got the same feel, that same kind of style to it, where they just kind of like cut his action zoom things, where he'll cut to things like when on what's the guy's name, Nick something or other in Hot Fuzz.
Oh, Nick Frost.
No, like his the character that Simon Pegg plays, because he's called Nick in that one, right?
I believe so.
But like whenever he's just like setting up his thing and it's like cutting to plant and cutting to him like doing simple stuff and it's cutting to it all dramatic. It's a very Edgar Wright sort of snap zoom, whatever we want to call it.
But I took the big guy down. Did you say a funny line when you did it? No, shame. Yeah, like that's the whole movie is fucking great. But yes, I would definitely recommend it. Mm-hmm. Definitely the second best of the Cornetto trilogy. Just watch it right now. Like,
watch it again.
Again, yeah, totally. And if you're trying to figure out the link of Easter, why we did Shaun of the Dead as Easter, like think about it.
We mentioned it.
Yeah.
Zombies.
Yeah.
And why would a zombie come up during Easter? You can figure that out. You're smart people.
Yeah. But my mom might watch these one day, and I don't really want her having a fucking coronary when she watches this, so I'm not gonna go like straight up.
I keep myself restrained here.
Yeah, we try.
No need to air out all my opinions.
Yeah, and if you don't like the inanities when we go into these little things, if it's like not bringing anything to the table, like mention it down in the comments, and we'll feel free to ignore them because we're
probably gonna just
until we get like better at editing, or if anybody knows how to edit and you don't want to charge us a ton of money to do this, then they're gonna stay in the videos. So
it's a holiday special.
Yeah,
you tuned in to listen to us maybe talk about Shaun of the Dead. I know it's in the title, Shaun of the Dead, but
no,
we'll only kind of talk about it.
Oh, it's like you're getting bonus Easter eggs.
Easter eggs, hey, that's what it is.
Hey, we brought it back, man. We brought it fucking off full circle. But anyways, I don't have anything else to talk about on that one.
So I guess join us tomorrow for another episode of something. I'm not sure if it's Have You Seen or if it's going to be a co-video yet.
So I'm pretty sure it's going to be.
It'll be the 18th.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's a co-video or a Have You Seen yet. So we're going to start alternating those like co-videos and Have You Seen on Mondays. But every Monday there'll be something. And then these holiday specials are just that little extra bit of Nick and Lance. So for those of you who don't see enough of us.
Yeah. For the 5 people who watch us. 6. There's 6 people now.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it's like, it galls me that like we've had all these videos out. Tim and Amber's shot right up to the top. If you want to see more Tim and Amber, say it down in the comments, but they are not taking over because getting those two together to do videos is going to be a pain in the ass. Yeah. So
it's like Tim actually has to work.
And Amber does too. And then we have a kid and just everything else. So
and then I come over here after the kid goes to bed. So it's late. Mm-hmm. That's why like we've got all this artificial light that makes me look all pale and blown out because I'm sure natural light would make me look better.
I'm going to go buy a white umbrella and just stick it over this ring light, honestly.
Yeah. It's even indirect light from the ceiling lamp. We had a mute to try to unwhite me because I'm just so. You look, I don't show off the tops of my arm. Oh God, look at that!
I probably got the same thing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the farmer's tan.
But you actually have color in your arms.
Oh, well, I work outside a little bit, but anyways, we're trying out a new camera too. So say down in the comments if you like the new camera. It's one that I'm borrowing. We haven't really decided on what we want. If you have recommendations for a camera, put it down. Like just talk to us in the comments. We're lonely and we like talking to people.
So I think like we get better color with this camera, but I think we're getting a little bit of motion lag because again we're using webcams. We're kind of using what we have because I mean
we're poor.
Yeah. Versus the other one, we get a bit more grainy and worse color, but our movement's a little bit better. So let us know. Do you like these videos or the cameras that we're using like last month?
Or just call me fat down in the comments. That's what YouTube's for, right?
That's pretty obvious.
Just talk about my nose. Don't talk about the stash though. The stash is pretty awesome, and it's not a pedophile stash. Don't say that. That's mean. So.
All right. Well, I guess join us tomorrow.
Yes.
For another episode of with Nick and Lance.
Yeah, stuff.
All right. Have a good night.
Bye.
Happy Easter.
Go find some eggs.